Hello and welcome to James Hill Sports. I am James Hill. It is a pleasure to invite one of my favorite human beings on the earth to the show today, Coach Willie Simmons. And you know him from the highest of seven hills. Coach Simmons, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, James. Always glad to see you.
Awesome. Talk a little bit about Rattlers football. It is the spring time of year. It's the so-called off season. And for you guys, it's always busy as a coach and a leader of young men. But just talk a little bit about football as you see it these days.
Well, obviously, we're in the thick of spring practice. We're actually smack dab in the middle. 7 of 15 practices are already completed. Our eighth practice will be Thursday, and then we'll have our second scrimmage this coming Saturday. So we're really excited about where we are as a football team. We brought in 13 transfers in the mid-year, and those guys are getting acclimated. Few guys banged up, which is typical this time of year. A couple of guys aren't participating because of some postseason surgeries that they had, but we anticipate them being back, 100% by the season. So it gives us a chance to get a lot of new guys and quality reps. The intensity level has been high, sometimes a little bit too high, some feistiness, that we have to try to curtail a little bit. But you like the old saying, you rather say whoa than have to say sick 'em. And so we're a feisty bunch of guys. We're a lot bigger, faster, stronger than we were this time last year, and that's a testament to the job that our strength conditioning staff has done under the leadership of Cole Forney, who I think is the best in the business. And then again, our coaches have done an amazing job of preparing our guys, for this coming season. So obviously a lot of work to do still, but we're very encouraged by what we've seen after 7 practices.
Coach, the three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. Tell the Rattlers Nation and the followers of FAMU, if you will, who they can look forward to seeing in those three different aspects, if you will, of Rattlers football.
Well, no question about it. And the good thing about it is that a lot of those guys, may be unknown today, but they're vying for positions. And after these 15 practices, that will start to take shape, right? And so obviously there's some familiar names. Jimmy Musa, obviously, is the incumbent as a quarterback. Second team all conference last year. We'll go into the season as the preseason first team quarterback. With Shador Sanders moving on to Colorado. He's having a really good spring up front on the offensive line. Jalen Goss and Cameron Colvin, two all-conference returning offensive linemen, are having really good springs. Jamaria Shareed, David Manigo, two guys that have played a lot of snaps for us at wide receiver. We're really excited about. And then on the defensive side, Kamari Stevens, second team all-conference performing. I'm sorry, first team all-conference performing this past season, along with Isaiah Major at linebacker, Javen Morgan in the secondary. And so, again, we have some really talented guys that are returning, but again, some names to keep an eye on. Jamari Gassett has had a really good spring at wide receiver. Jaquez Yant and Kevin Dean have both done really well at running back. Up front, Ashton Grable, has worked at guard and tackle and looks really solid for us right now. On the defensive side of the ball, Jordan Moore, one of our signees from the last year's class who didn't get a chance to play this past season, has made a position change to linebacker. And he's having a phenomenal spring. And then our newcomers, I think a lot of those guys, Sharif C., Tyrese Gibson Battle, again, the Deco Wilson, Jalen Glaze, a lot of those guys are making plays. And then obviously Trey Wilhoit in the special teams area, you won't see much drop off at all at punter. He has a really big leg and very reminiscent of Chris Verdul in the way the ball jumps off of his leg. So we're really excited. Obviously, we're still recruiting actively and have a few more spots to fill. But with the talent that we recruit so far, we feel like this is by far the deepest and most talented football team that we fielded here at FAMU.
Coach, shifting gears, when young gentlemen want to plan to attend FAMU and get an education and also play football, a lot of those gentlemen have aspirations to play on Sundays. This week, you'll have the Pro Day. Can you talk a little bit about Pro Day, what that looks like, and what those opportunities can entail for again, it's only for the few guys who can actually make it and who can play at that level, but take us into Pro Day, if you will, on the highest of seven hills.
Yeah, so obviously Pro Day, like it says, is a day where NFL scouts, personnel, and even sometimes coaches come to your campus and put your players through individual workouts. They test everything from bench press to vertical jump, various agility drills, and then they put them through individual drills as well. And so we anticipate all 32 teams being present this coming Thursday. Last year we had 31 of 32 teams to come see Marquise Bell and the seniors from last year's team. But when you look at the fact that Isaiah Land was invited to the recent Senior Bowl and NFL Combine Scouting Combine this year, Xavier Smith at the Hbcu Combine probably had the best overall performance there, also winning the game's MVP. And then other guys as well, you know, Chris Fadul, Jose Romo Martinez, BJ Bowler, Courtney Cox, you know, all those guys who maybe didn't get an all-star invite, they have a chance to showcase their abilities and skills in front of NFL personnel. And so we've come a long way. You know, our first year in 2018, this time we didn't have one scout show up. One NFL scout showed, not one scout showed up to Pro Day. And for the second year in a row, you know, we'll have, like I said, almost every team. You know, I anticipate all 32 teams being represented. So just shows how far we've come. But again, just a great day for our underclassmen to watch those seniors go out and perform. And then when you have a guy that just got here, like a Deco Wilson, you know, like a Jamari Gassett, to see every NFL team here evaluating our outgoing seniors, it lets them know that they work hard, do the right things, that when their time comes in their senior year, they have a chance to play at the highest level as well. So we're very optimistic about Isaiah Land's chances to get drafted this year, you know, and being the first drafted player since Brandon Hepburn back in 2013. And will join Marquise Bell on an NFL roster. And we feel really good about Xavier Smith and Jose and some of those other guys' chances as well. So that's the program that you want to build. You want your prospective student athletes to feel that if I go to Florida A&M, I have a chance to not only graduate with a first-class degree, win football games, win championships, but also have a chance to showcase my skills in front of NFL personnel and live out my ultimate goal of playing football at the highest level. And we're excited about showcasing that on this coming Thursday.
Coach Simmons, Xavier, talk a little bit about Mr. Smith. And he's a guy who has all the tools. He played really well recently over in New Orleans with the HBCU Hall of Famers. Just talk a little bit about his opportunity. And he's crafty and he's very competitive.
I'll tell you what, you know, I've done this now for going on 18 years. I've seen a lot of really talented players, seen guys that played in the NFL, All-Americans, all-conference guys, record holders, and you name it. Xavier Smith is right up there in that conversation as one of the best football players I've ever coached. Just a special individual. You know, obviously everyone saw his raw talent. You know, it was very fast, very quick, twitchy, shifty, really great ball skills, great route runner, great in the return game. But what they didn't see was just his humility, his work ethic, his drive to be great, his leadership skills, just the way he carried himself, you know. And of course, if you don't know his story, you know, Xavier wasn't a recruited guy out of high school, had 0 scholarship offers, actually sat out for a semester, you know, that first fall semester, and worked at Amazon, stocking boxes, and applied to FAMU, got admitted, came on as an invited walk-on, and from there just earned his way into the team. And we came in my first year in 18, his redshirt freshman year, and he went from a second, third team wideout that first day to starting day 2, and he hadn't relinquished that spot since then, and just worked his way to becoming one of the most prolific receivers in FCS history. You know, Xavier left his family career with over 4,000 receiving yards, almost 300 catches, 20 plus touchdowns. I mean, again, just a prolific career. And just, again, I think he's done everything he could do to prove that he belongs at the highest level. He's not 6 feet tall. He's not 200 pounds. He's right at the 5'10". He's about 175 pounds. But again, there are guys in the NFL that have those measurables that are playing. And so I've been telling the scouts really for about 3 years now. Xavier Smith's a kid that even if he doesn't get drafted, which he does have a draftable grade, he'll make a roster, I believe, just because he's going to be that kid that no coach wants to release. No one will want to cut Xavier because no one's going to outwork him. No one's going to study more film. No one's going to try to learn more about their position in the craft than Xavier. And just his attitude, he's going to play special teams. He's going to do everything you ask him to do. And you win with those type of guys, right? Everyone looks for the measurables, the 6'4", 210-pound receiver, with 10-inch hands. But those intangibles is what matters in close games and that level of football. So I can't say enough about the kid. One of my favorite individuals of all time, and I'm rooting for Xavier just like everyone else is. And nothing will make me and his mom and brother and sisters happier, and Rattler Nation, than seeing either his name called on draft day or knowing that he signed an NFL contract and got into a camp to showcase his abilities. And once he does that, I think Xavier Smith will take care of the rest.
When you think about Isaiah Land, what do you see in this young gentleman? Tremendous upside, one of the best in the country. Talk a little bit about Mr. Land.
Isaiah, very similar to Xavier, didn't have the traditional path of a guy who, like I said, probably be our first draft pick since 2013. We first got here in 2018. I went up to Grayson High School looking to recruit a quarterback. And while I was waiting for the quarterback, their defensive line coach asked me to take a look at this wiry kid who was a situational pass rusher for them. He was 6'3.5". He was about 175, 180 pounds. And I just saw a tenacious motor, a guy that I felt could fill out and put some weight on. And we gave him an opportunity, and no one else did. And he came here, and again, the growth and maturity that he displayed over the last 5 years is amazing, right? Xavier Smith was already a pretty mature kid, but Isaiah Land, and he'll tell you that he wasn't, right? He was a kid who was rough around the edges, didn't really trust many people. If you know his home, life and situation growing up, you would kind of understand why. But it took him a while to really assimilate and do the things that it takes every day to be, a leader on this football team. And now he's always had a strong work ethic, right? He always loved the weight room. He always loved to practice, great intensity, great motor. You never really had to talk to him much about how to practice, but we just had to kind of teach him the little things, right? How to study film, how to be a good teammate, how to be a leader, how to be trustworthy. And he developed those things, and again, turned himself into arguably the best player in FCS football over the last couple of years. And again, his play on the field, earned him a right to go to the recent Senior Bowl, which is the highest all-star game of any draft eligible player, and then get invited to the NFL Scouting Combine, which is the second year in a row that we've had a player get invited to the Scouting Combine. So, he has a very high draft grade. And with the weight that he's put on, he's close to 240 pounds now, and at almost 6'4". And he's shown his versatility. Played defensive end for us, but showed in the Reese's All-Star game that he could play linebacker. Was forced to play linebacker, thrust into it the day of the game, and played it and had a really good game. So I think with the way the league is shifting now, the NFL is shifting now, looking for those quote unquote hybrid players who can do multiple things. I think he really has positioned himself to hear his name called, and possibly, maybe as early as the third round. So I'm excited to see what he, Xavier, and all those other guys will do on pro day, because again, they've really worked extremely hard, and you see it the way their bodies have changed. And again, just shows that we're doing the right things here, and that those guys have really bought into the message of you can accomplish all your goals right here at FAMU.
Coach, when you look at NIL and the transfer portal, talk a little bit about how fruitful the transfer portal can be. And then guys, everybody wants $1 or $2 in their pockets so they can spend money. But just talk a little bit about NIL and what that kind of looks like at this point in the game.
Well, obviously the transfer portal is something that we can all benefit from, if taken advantage of. It goes both ways. I actually just got off the phone with another head coach, and we kind of talked about the challenges for us when you recruit really good high school players and they come in and they perform at a high level. Well, now you run the risk of schools, group of 5 schools, Power 5 schools, even coaching those young men, even though they're not supposed to, but enticing them with, NIL deals and more money and those type things, more exposure, quote unquote. And so again, we have to really be cognizant of how we continue to re-recruit our current players, to make sure that we hang on to them. And, but again, it gives you a chance to go out and fill some immediate needs. Like I said, we took advantage of it the last 2 seasons. This year is probably the most that we've done. You know, we signed 13 young men out of the portal, and again, there are more that we will sign here in the coming months. And so, you know, we filled some immediate needs. We got some quality depth. It gave us a chance to really build some competition across the board. And so, again, there are a lot of benefits to the transfer portal, and it's here to stay. You know, regardless of how people feel about it, whether they think it's good or bad for college football, it's here to stay, right? They're not going to. I think the rules will become more lenient before they become more strict. And so, again, the ability to transfer a second time is not off the table. Even a third time, you know, you may look at a situation where guys transfer once every year, you know, kind of like they're doing in high school now. So, again, it's just a matter of being able to stay ahead of the curve and try to manage your rosters the right way to make sure that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're deficient at a key spot. And but it's been really good to us, and we plan to continue to utilize it to take advantage of it. And again, when you talk about NIL, I certainly wish it would have been around back when I played. Would have been nice to earn a few dollars to put in your pocket, take your girlfriend out to the movies, and you know, be able to send some money home to your mom, and you know, the little things that obviously collegiate athletes want to be able to do when we can't work. You know, as much as a quote unquote regular student can because of our time restraints with our respect to sports. And so, you know, the ability to have small businesses, major corporations, you name it, you know, reach out to us and offer us an opportunity to make a little bit of money, or the student athletes make a little money, you know, promoting their brand is a good thing. Obviously, like everything else, you know, you have to be able to regulate it. And anything that goes unregulated can get out of control. And so there are some instances where NIL is being utilized as a recruiting tool. That wasn't the intention of it with the inception. Again, it was supposed to be just an opportunity for student athletes to make money off their name, image, and likeness. You know, but now you have some of the larger schools who found a way to kind of circumvent the rules with collectives and some of these other things that they can now entice prospective student athletes to say, hey, if you come to our school, we'll give you X amount of dollars to play for us. Well, that's pay for play. And that's not what NIL is. And so there's kind of a misunderstanding. A lot of people are kind of, not say confused, but don't truly understand what NIL really is. But again, if you look at, we had a situation this past season where one of our young men, BJ Bowler, was on an AT&T commercial. And if people remember that commercial back when it ran, which if you saw BJ, his helmet didn't have a logo on it because you cannot promote the school or the university when it comes, or the program, with NIL. And so player A, Willie Simmons, who plays quarterback for FAMU, can't say, you know, can't shoot a commercial with his FAMU jersey on, you know, with the Rattler logo showing anywhere. So it cannot be in our stadium, can't be anywhere near our facility. We can't use any branding, you know, that goes along with it. And so it's strictly and solely supposed to be about any individual being able to benefit from their name, image, and likeness, right? Just like if they wanted to find the top architecture major at FAMU and let them shoot a commercial for an architecture firm, they could do that, right? But they can't, you know, market it the way. So again, there are some restrictions with it, but it's good. I think it's good. Again, like I said, just like everything else, I think there needs to be some regulation. I think there needs to be some monitoring and some tracking to make sure that the numbers are consistent. You see a lot of inflated numbers out there as of what student athletes are offered. Not sure if all of those are true. And so what you don't want is a bidding war of one school saying, I can offer you this. The next school come on top of that and say, hey, we'll offer you this. And it becomes a bidding war for a student athlete. That's not the intention of NIL. And so it's a good thing. And just like transfer portal, it's not going anywhere. And so again, whether you agree with it, disagree with it, you might as well get on board with it because again, it's not going to change. And we just have to be, you know, we have to change with the changing times. And here at FAMU, we think we've done that. We have young men with NIL deals. We do have a small collective, you know, put together that some of our young men can benefit from. And we're going to try to do more. I talked to Coach McCullum, you know, just here today about how we can get more involved with NIL now that the state has passed legislation that allows coaches to now kind of broker on behalf of our student athletes. And so again, it's part of the changing landscape. You got conference realignment, you got college football expansion for the playoffs, you got NIL, transfer portal. College football does not look today like it looked 20 years ago, and it won't look the same in 5 years as it does today. And it's just something that's going to constantly change, and we just have to be, have to stick with it and enjoy it and try to, keep the period of the sport what it is. It's still about the student athlete. It's still about teamwork and camaraderie and those type of things. And hopefully that won't get lost with all the new changes that are coming down the pike.
Coach, 7 is a complete number, 7 practices in the books, if you will. You're halfway through your spring football. Just talk a little bit about what you want to see in the next phase as you get ready for the annual spring game, if you will.
Yeah, so the first half was kind of about installation and putting all of our plays in this spring, right? So we're pretty much about done with our install. We may put in a couple more wrinkles here and there, and going into the second scrimmage, we'll try to make sure that we run as many of the things that we put in the first few days as we can. And then once we come off scrimmage 2, and now you're on the back end, that's 9 practices, or 8 practices will be Thursday. 9 will be the second scrimmage. The last 6, or really last 5, because the spring game is kind of watered down. But you really want to just see now how much better we can get with the details, right? No more new plays going in. It's just kind of a rehash of all the stuff that we've already put in, maybe a wrinkle here or there. But at the end of the day, just want to see people, want to see our young men retain information. And that's the focus. Focus on the little things, protecting the football on offense, playing with great tempo, and defense, tackling, and all the little things that it takes to be a great unit.
Coach, when you look at, hey, there's a little one there. Coach, when you look at the season coming up, it's going to be a special season, 2023. And we can even say, Prime has moved on to Colorado, and FAMU is looking forward to a successful season. But talk a little bit about what the Swac can look like now that Jackson has a new look.
Well, again, I want to be careful and respectful at the same time. It's always been about us in our minds, and so regardless of who is coaching at the other 11 member institutions, we're going to focus on what we're doing here at FAMU. We have a goal in mind. Our goal has always been to win the Eastern Division, and then win the Swac Championship, and ultimately win the Celebration Bowl. So we know that there are going to be 5 teams in the East that are standing in our way, and then whoever's waiting on the West, if we take care of business, we'll be waiting in the championship game. So our focus every day is being the best that we can be, working on the little things that it takes to be a great football team, being the closest team, being the best conditioned team, and being the smartest football team, right? And that's our focus. So again, I'm excited about the year coming ahead. I'm excited about the competition that we're about to face. Happy for TC Taylor, and his opportunity to be a head football coach, and look forward to seeing him lead his program. Obviously we open up with them again, and we have some unfinished business in Miami. So, but again, I'm excited. I hope everyone's bought this season tickets, and we're ready to see the Rattlers, go to work this year.
Coach, when you look at home games and great opportunities for Rattlers Nation to return to the highest of 7 hills, just talk a little bit about that. And the fans are always behind you, and I'm sure they will be there for the spring game, but just talk a little bit about seeing a lot of those fans this season in Tallahassee.
Well, that's one thing that I know Vice President and Athletic Director Tiffany Don Sykes has been really adamant about. We're really excited about the opportunity to play games here at Bragg Memorial Stadium. We feel like we have one of the greatest game day atmospheres in all of FCS football. And so, Rattler Nation is always supported. They always show up and really get behind this football team. So, we only have 4 this year, unfortunately, but we're going to try to take advantage of those 4, and hopefully we'll have great crowds at all 4. And, guys, they have some quality opponents coming to Tallahassee, Alabama State, Prairie View A&M, my old stomping ground, who we hadn't played in a long time, for homecoming. Again, in Lincoln University, there before the Florida Classic. and I'm missing one early in the season that I can't remember off the top of my head. But again, it's a great home slate, and again, I think that we're excited about. Well, I know we're excited about extending our home winning streak. Obviously we're at 15 games, which is the second longest win streak in the country at the FCS level, and by the end of the season we want to be at 20. Now, people say, okay, coach, you say you only have 4 home games, so how are you going to be at 20 at the end of the season? Well, obviously that's a little bit of foreshadowing because we take care of business. We'll host a Swac championship game here at home as well. So we plan to play 5 home games here this year, and that will be hosting the Swac championship. But we can have a 20-game home win streak. We feel like we're taking care of business, and our guys really get up playing at home. The last couple of years, if you look at the margin of victory at our home games, I mean, it's probably in the 30s for us scoring, and less than 10 for the opposing team, right? Because our defense really gets up at home. Our offense finds their life at home behind the student body, behind DJ Loose Kid, our alumni, the Marching 100, obviously. And so, again, just a great, great game day atmosphere. And we look forward to seeing everyone here this fall. So, again, get your season tickets. Invest in Champions packages are available. Discounts for the orange and the green and Champions package if you purchase it before, April 15th before the spring game, you get a 10% discount. So, support these student athletes. That's the only way that we're going to continue to build this program the way that we all want to see it built, is by financially supporting these young men and women, not just football, but all of our sports. And we know we're the bell cow. We're the one that brings in the most money, has the most attention. But again, we root for all of our sports, and we want to win that Commissioner's Cup, which goes to the top athletics program, in the SWAC. So football, we're going to do our part, and hopefully we can get all 10 points this coming year, which means that we won that championship.
Coach, the Orange Blossom Classic used to be a national championship game in HBCU. In recent years, fans can't wait to see it. They're clamoring. They're talking about Jackson State and FAMU meeting in South Florida. It looks like this might be the last installment on the current contract. Can you speak a little bit about what you envision there? And some of that is obviously not part of what you do, but when you see this classic, what are you seeing?
Well, obviously, the first thing comes to mind is I got to get this monkey off my back. Hadn't won it yet, which we got to definitely do something about that this year, and bring that title home to Tallahassee. But again, it's a game with a lot of pageantry. South Florida is the hotbed for recruiting. And not just football talent, but I think talent across the country. I think it's the 4th or 5th largest school district, in the country, and so the ability for our administration to go there to recruit, for a whole week, to show what Florida A&M has to offer, it's great. The Marching 100 gets to go down there. You have a Battle of the Band. You have the Orange Blossom Parade, concerts, all those type of things. So again, it's a great week. It has a bowl game feel to it. We're there 2, 3, last year 4 days, which honestly was too many. But again, just gives our guys a chance to have that bowl type experience. And but they do a great job. The executive director, Kendra Bullock Major, has done an amazing job putting that game together. She saw the vision, I think 5 years ago. First time I heard her talk about the Orange Blossom Classic, and everything she talked about has come to fruition. And so, it's a game that, like you said, Rattler Nation looks forward to every year. I know Jackson State, has enjoyed their experience. I'm not sure what the future holds. Like you said, that's kind of outside of my, pay grade, so to speak. But again, I know that there's some discussion and conversations about how to possibly continue the game in the future. And, if we're able to do so, I think it'll be great for us. And again, I think it's something that, again, our fans, our administration, and our football team really look forward to. But if this is the last year of it for a while, we definitely want to make sure we go out with a bang.
Coach, when you look at the end of the season culminates with the championship game in Atlanta, and I know it's a season away, it's all the way at the end of the year, but what would that mean to Rattler Nation to put the work in, so to speak, and to show up in the ATL and to be there and play at that level?
Well, I think it'll mean that we'll break the attendance record for the Celebration Bowl, definitely without question. But again, that's what our fans expect, right? They support this program. They supported me, during my 5 years here, and the expectation is that we bring home a championship. And I think every player knows that, every coach, every support staffer, our administration understands that. So if we do our part and take care of business and we can end up in Atlanta, that would just mean that everything that we've worked hard for over these years will finally come to fruition. And this is, we have no restrictions this year. And in 2019 couldn't go because of a self-imposed ban. 2021 and 22, we literally were one game away, right? 1 point away in 21. And then last year, obviously, with some of the challenges we faced early in the season, we just weren't prepared to play our best ball on that day. And so this year, we feel like everything will line up, and we finally have everything intact as far as administration, as far as eligibility. We feel confident that all of our guys will be there, and we'll be able to go in and focus on the main thing, which is going in, playing our best ball, and coming out of Miami with the victory. Starting the season 1-0, 1-0 in conference play. And being a game up, and that's something that we haven't been able to have the last 2 years. We've been a game back. We've always found ourselves playing from behind. And even though we finished 8-1 both years in conference, 7-1 or whatever the case may be, Jackson didn't lose. And so we want to control our own destiny. And but that's what that would mean for us, that we took care of business the way that we're capable of. And definitely look forward to seeing everyone who booked their rooms ahead of time not having to cancel those reservations like they have the last couple of years.
Coach, in closing, HBCU football, and in particular, in this case, obviously the Swac and Famu, just talk a little bit about that spotlight. It's been here since the 1800s. Coach Prime was in, he's moved on to Colorado. Everybody is still looking at the HBCU football experience and the HBCU football and life overall, but just talk a little bit about HBCU, if you will.
Well, again, I think the spotlight is still here. I'm thankful to, what Coach Prime, has done the last couple of years, but I'm also thankful to the other 10 coaches in the conference for what they've been able to do. I'm thankful to Commissioner McClellan, and for everyone who has stood up for us, who's voiced their concerns over our lack of representation across the board, whether it be with the media, whether it be, with as far as the resources that were provided. And so again, I think the blueprint has been laid, and it's just our job to continue to follow that blueprint, right? Advocate for our schools, advocate for our programs, advocate for our student athletes, and get what we're due. We have a great product, and I think people deserve to see that product, and having guys like Isaiah Land and Marquise Bell, James Houston this past season took the NFL by storm, had a phenomenal end of the season. We had three other players get drafted, and Jacoby Durant had a great, rookie season there with the Rams. The corner from Kansas City, won a Super Bowl. And again, you see guys like, Devon Hargrave and Shaquille Leonard, Terran Armstead, Kadero Hodge, who I coach. Those guys are really represent HBCUs the way it should be. And so again, just that spotlight, that ability to show what we're all about as programs, as universities, is something that I think everyone is really excited about. So, again, I bear that responsibility to continue to put our best foot forward. And every time we get a chance to showcase Florida A&M University, we do so in a first-class manner. And we let everyone know that we are indeed one of the top institutions in all of America, not just not the top HBCU, not just the top HBCU, but one of the top overall institutions in America. And that's something that we take great pride in here. So again, thankful, for this opportunity as always, and, look forward to bringing home that championship this fall and making Rattler Nation proud.
Coach, the Florida Classic is several months away, but when you think about the Florida Classic, I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm sure you can, but
oh yeah.
When you think about the Florida Classic, 2 in a row, and you'll be going for 3 straight, but just talk a little bit about the Florida Classic. And again, it's months away, but everyone loves Florida Classic.
Yeah, and again, it'll be coach talk for me to sit there and say, "Oh, my focus ain't on the classic, right? It's the last regular season game and all that." But of course, we all know the importance of the classic. They're under new leadership. Coach Raymond Woody has taken over the reins from Coach Sims, and he'll learn. Well, he played there, so he understands what this game is all about. So again, regardless of what happens during the regular season, the first 10 games, you can throw all that out the window when it comes to the classic. You can walk in there at 10-0. The other team can be 0-10, and it's going to be a knockdown, drag out slugfest. And that's what classic and rival games are all about. So it's great for the state. It's great for our respective institutions, but it's great for HBCU football, for people to see two, prominent institutions with phenomenal bands, with great history and tradition, go toe to toe on national television. And so we're excited about the opportunity to play in the classic every year. And obviously this year will be no different. And again, 2-game win streak, and we got to keep it going. They had 9 straight on us, whatever the case was, and we got to flip. We got to turn the tide. And so we're 2 in, and we're hopefully on our way to number 3.
All right, Coach. Any final comments as you think about spring football? And again, the fans will be there on April 15th. Any closing comments?
Well, no, just looking forward to seeing Rattler Nation, on April 15th, the annual Orange and Green game. We'll kick off, I think, around 2 o'clock. There's some other events going on that day. I think a softball doubleheader, baseball, maybe tennis. And so there'll be a lot of events going on. But, if you find time, come check us out completely free for the game. And, we'll split the teams up like we always do and have a grand old time. It'll be your sneak preview at some of the newer Raptors. But again, continue to support. Like I said before, buy your season tickets, right? Get your Investing in Champions packages. We're trying to build our budget out, to make sure that we can sustain our success and even take it to another level, right? And everyone understands that the school can't financially support the program, contrary to popular belief. And so we have to support ourselves, and that comes from your contribution. That comes from corporate sponsorships. And so again, let's continue to get the word out. If you know anyone who wants to partner with Florida A&M, whether it be through NIL deals, sponsorships, or whatever the case may be, definitely reach out to our athletic department. VPAD Tiffany Dawn Sykes is very aggressive in her approach to fundraising, and we want to make sure we take this program to the next level. So I'm honored to be the leader of this great football program. I thank Rattler Nation for what they do, for how they supported us. And I just want to continue to make everyone proud. So again, as always, James, I thank you for this time, and I look forward to seeing you again. But as always, go Rattlers.
All right, Coach. There you have it, folks, from Willie Simmons. As you know, he is the head football coach on the highest of 7 hills. And as he said, you can see him April 15th for the annual spring game. I'm James Hill, and thanks for watching James Hill Sports. We'll be right back.